Greetings. This is Scholar Saunders seeing what's current. Happy Friday the 13th. Um, Today is a mystical, superstitious day. People get paranoid and think one way or the other and don't really understand it. The word for the fear of Friday the 13th is parakevidecatriophobia. I'm not going to say that anytime fast or anything like that, but it just goes to its Greek wording for Friday and 13 with phobia or fear tacked on, essentially. That's what I'm getting from Google. But hey, I want to salute my 50 club. Number 3, Chelsea with the glasses, who donated early today, not even during the broadcast. She donated $25. You can see $25 raised, $55 to go before the show even started. So I appreciate her. I'm doing this show partially for her. This is almost like a dedication show because she's so dedicated herself. I have to give the number 2 spot to Tone J. I had his name as J Tone. That was my fault. I didn't mean to disrespect your name like that, sir. I appreciate the fact that you have supported this machine, and I will definitely keep you in mind, for the future perks I want to give out to my top viewers. So I appreciate it. And of course, Mr. Spirit Smooth Tunes, the number 1 contributor of this platform or to this platform. I appreciate everything he does and everything that he's about. And here's a quick ad for him. There she is. I'm going to say it right now. Chelsea with her glasses on says, "Hey, Sky, I'm working over a bit, so I'm just listening. Happy Friday 13th. Yes, happy Friday 13th to you too. I don't have that word I just said. Parakevidecatriophobia. I remember the fear of the number 13 is triskaidekaphobia. That one's a little bit more easier to pronounce. But I do thank you, Chelsea, for you helping to sponsor this show. I'm glad you're in the top 3 in the my Scholars 50 club. You've earned your spot. You definitely have it. You're moving on up. You could surpass Tone J. I hope you guys are competing to see who can get as much money into the show, because it's all going to come back to you. I want to get mics. I want to get better lighting. I want to get a studio. I want to get this thing popping on a professional level. So this is just very nuts and bolts and low level and very amateurish at this point. But I'm having a good time. I'm making money. So this is where my start is. Everybody has to have a start. That's how they say. So there's that. Happy Friday 13th, Chelsea with her glasses on. Appreciate it, Chels. I wanted to get right into it. Later on we're gonna have a story time. Yeah, I haven't had story time in a long time. I'm just going past the algorithms. They may not pick up the story time, but I'm putting it there because I want to share my story with you. There's a AllHipHop.com article referencing the government. Now, this is what gets goofy and weird about the government, is that if there's Democrats and Republicans agree on something, it's probably going to be pretty bad. And this looks pretty bad. This looks evil. This looks vicious. They're planning to regulate AI, or from here on out. I know the title says artificial intelligence, but it's actually learned machines. That's the proper terminology of it. It's actually learned machines. It's just a better definition than to say artificial intelligence, because machines don't have intelligence. Only humans have real intelligence that can be measured in extraordinary ways, not just basic dolphins, maybe intelligent creatures, or apes. Large apes like gorillas could be intelligent, quote unquote. I'm talking about human intelligence versus something that's not human. So even a senator from my great state of Delaware, Chris Coons, is involved in this bill, this act. It's called No Fakes. Let me see. We'll break that down to it's called Nurture Originals, Foster Art, and Keep Entertainment Safe Act. You know, they always had to have a catchy acronym or a catchy little phrase for people to remember. So they came up with it. I totally disagree with it. But what do you think? You let me know in the comment section. I want to see what your thoughts are. I think it's completely vicious and evil and backwards. It has nothing to do with protecting individual rights. Because if you're going to protect people from learn machines, you have to protect them from every other level. Like the MPA, music, not music, movie. Hold on, let me make sure. Let me get the words right. Let me make sure. Let me get it right. I'm flying on a wing and a prayer here. Motion Picture Association. They govern what it can be seen, what movies are seen. Also the MPAA, the Motion Picture or the MPA, and they're not censors. That's one thing you have to remember. They're not censors. They called themselves that. The Hays Code back in through the 30s through the 60s had the Hays Code, and then it was relaxed in 1968. But that's about what it means. That's what it should mean for AI or learned machines. I even slipped up and said AI. I mean learned machines. So you have this technology that alters people's voices and their images, and it could be used for nefarious means. Now, that all resides falls on the individual. The individual adult especially that should be watching these photographs, these videos, these images, these likenesses, and be able to determine what is good for their child or their anyone else. They should have the prerogative. They should have the way of making up their own mind to do something, rather than for the government to force you just to do this or that or be penalized. Literally, it says that in the article, to penalize people for doing their work, doing something that they deem creative. And it's not scary. It's not weird. It's just like anything else. Just like the they call them the Luddites because there was a work laborer called Ludd. His last name was Ludd. And he destroyed multiple machines. I think they were sewing machines, and that his name has come to serve as a Luddite. Anyone who is averse to technological progression or advancements. That's the key thing. And I think why AllHipHop caught this story is because a rapper, Beanie Siegel, expects to use the technology to try to alter his voice because he was shot in the lung, or he had pieces of his lung removed as a result of being shot in the chest, and it altered his vocal cords. It altered his speech. So with his voice restored, he has a better opportunity of reaching more people again and having his name, back into the mix of hip hop heads. But like I said, the Republicans and the Democrats have gotten together and made this No Fakes Act. It hasn't been passed yet, but they're trying to speed it up and make sure it happens. But that's going to just hurt everybody. Anybody that is a good actor. Of course, there's going to be bad actors, just like anybody that slips, in movies. It might be a rated R movie or NC-17, and they're actually giving fellatio. That's in a real movie called Brown Bunny with Chloe Sevigny. I mean, that actually happened. That actually took place. It was damn near a pornographic film. It was almost like an adult film, but that should be up to the discretion of the movie house not the government. It should be privatized completely. It should be privatized to the fullest. It should have parents, adults, anyone with or without children able to do it. Oh, here we go. Chelsea with her glasses on. I have to read everything she says. I don't care what y'all think. I watched 60 Minutes earlier this week, and one of the guys who kind of started AI, he had shown some robots that was built for something completely different, but taught themselves how to play soccer. I saw that one, and they were falling. They were running down the field, and I saw that. I did see that. They were running down the field, and they were falling over each other, and they were kicking the ball. Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool. That's the amount of AI, or I say it again. I'm gonna keep slipping. It's learned machines. That's what is capable, for us to. We haven't even explored all the possibilities that they will open up to us. We're not even ready for that. We're not even part of the solution for that. Of course, there's going to be, evildoers, as in Bush's president, former President Bush's, on his catchwords, evildoers, they're always going to be present, no matter what. They're always going to be around. There's never going to be a day without evil until we get to an objectivist utopia. And then there's still going to be acts of, evil no matter what, because it's human spirit, it's human nature. But you don't have to have the government come in and say something like, you can't have this voice, you can't have these images, you can't show this on a screen, you can't go to the movies and watch this, you can't go into your streaming services and view that. It's exhausting, because the government, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Senators and representatives, they're talking about, regulating artificial intelligence. Israel just got bombed. They're at war, okay? And we're talking about artificial intelligence. There's no artificial intelligence for a bomb dropping on your forehead. There's no artificial intelligence for a missile going through your bedroom. That's real life. That's blood and carnage, and fires and disgust and crying and sorrow and tears. That's all real. That's IRL. That's in real life. That's truth. So we should be more concerned with dealing with actual battle, actual fighting, than to say that we're going to be regulating learned machines. That's completely heinous. That's vicious. That is evil of the government to even come close to this measure, to even step on these boundaries. When you have, Ukraine still at war. That's one thing we pushed to the back burner. We said, well, shit, Israel is at war now. Ukraine, you can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I really don't mind. I don't do what you gotta do. I mean, that's the media. That's the news outlets, the zines, all the different organizations, the news organizations. They're focused on Israel now. They could care less what happens to Ukraine now. Ukraine is still fighting. They lost tens of thousands of people on both sides. And I'm all for Ukraine. I'm not equivocating. I'm not trying to make them equal. Ukraine is a sovereign nation that should be protected and should fight against Russia, which is an aggressor, just like Hamas was the aggressor against Israel. They started it. Israel has to finish it now. And if that has to be at the cost of little Palestinian babies and aunties and uncles and nieces and nephews, so be it. The blood won't be on Israel's hands. It'll be on Hamas's hands. It'll be on the Palestinians' hands. That's a fact. And if we don't do anything with Iran, I mean, yes. Oh, we got to make up a no fakes act. It's entertainment and images and likeness and name. That's more important than war and people dying and people getting killed. That's what the government is. That's what it is right now. A nanny state. It's a You can't drink that soda. It's got too much sugar. You can't watch that film. It might have deep fake. You can't watch that. You can't listen to that album. It's been the audio has been altered. That's where we are. Oh, I just saw her. Chelsea said this a few minutes ago. Chelsea with her glasses on. I'm saying her full name. True. I appreciate that. But I'm just telling it like it is. I'm not. She could have disagreed with me. I'd have been like, "Thank you for the cash," but I disagree. But we're on the same page. We're definitely on the same page, Chelsea. Chels. I don't know if she wants me to call her Chels, but that's what shows up on my Cash App. It says Chels. And I don't know if she wants to. I said her last name a few times, but I'm not going to drop it today. But I thoroughly appreciate her patronage. Seriously. But no, it's disgusting. It is literally disgusting. Like it really pisses me off. That if you want to know what pisses me off, that is government overreach, government oversight, or government involvement or intrusion in the economy. They don't have any intrusion in the rating of movies. They may have. I think the Hayes Act was part of the government. If it wasn't, that's okay too, because it should have nothing to do with it. It should only be up to the discretion of the distributors and the people that produce these movies and video games and anything, books, because you can write a whole book. You can probably write a whole novel by now, or 10 novels with artificial intelligence. You just have to go into I look on Google Docs. It's got a little option, little arrow that says, what do you want me to write? Or I'm just paraphrasing, but it says, what would you like to say, or something like that. And I'm like, write me a story about the Marine Corps or something like that. And it just had like 3 or 4 paragraphs about the Marines. So if you can do that, you can. I'm sure there's people, sitting back, using the tools, to get their whatever they want to get on that platform, and probably in major works, like I said, novels, screenplays, probably game dialogue, various things. And that's very creepy to me. That's scary. If the government, especially during this time, is more focused on name, image, and likeness rather than sending more weaponry and military aid to places like Ukraine and Israel, that's what we should be focused on. That's what we should have the idea to be doing. Not worried about what, if Beanie Siegel can get a voice to use to aid him in his rapping career because his vocal cords were affected because he was shot. I mean, it's just that simple. It's not even anything you have to, ain't no riddle, ain't nothing you got to think about. Greg S is in the building. This freeloading, free riding ass nigga. We got a smart working young lady that puts in the time and has contributed a great amount to this broadcast is in here. Her name is Chelsea with her glasses on. And then we have a broke bum freeloading nigger named Greg S that wants to come in. But he's welcome. I'm not going I never turn anybody away. I will never, even if you don't put a dime in, you never put a penny into this platform. I'm still going to keep you on. You can say whatever you want. Because I appreciate the view, first of all. And I appreciate the fact that you could have it. I'm native, sir. You're still a nigger. In the white man's eye, you're still a nigger. I don't care if you're native. I'm native. Everybody that was born in the United States, if you go by your dictionary, is a Native American. So you got to change up your wording. But I'll say what he said. He said the government can focus on more than one task at a time, brother. Now he's really trying to piss me off by calling me brother. Did I ever call me brother? And second of all, the government should only do one thing: protect individual rights. You're not protecting anybody's rights by trampling over them. Ironically, they may have the intent to protect individual rights, but they may not. Actually, they probably don't have the intent to protect individual rights. They just want to score points for political gain. Their intent is not for individual rights. Excuse me, I have to clean that up. They don't want individual rights. They want to be a nanny state. They want to tell you what to do, what to drink, what to eat, what to watch, what to say. And we have the First Amendment. That's our last bastion of hope. You know, when things go sour, we have to say, well, we got the First Amendment, and that's what should really protect people with the learned machines. That should be something that should really aid them, give them a boost, give them a reason to say really what they want to say, and that's what makes it important for us to realize that, to see that learned machines are the future. They really are. Like in the movie The Graduate, I'm going way back. This is like 1968, 69, I think, something like that. But he said, like, by the pool, he was talking to a young man that just graduated from college, Dustin Hoffman's character. And I can't remember the other actor's name, but he just said one word: plastics. And that was very prescient. That was like a future, being told, because our world changed in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, and 2020s with plastic, but going back both ways. The buildup of plastics, the use and the widespread makings of plastic, that was championed for a lot of years. And then people came in, called them environmentalists. I don't call them environmentalists or ecologists. They're hellions. They don't care about human life. They care about the snails and the whales and the bees and the trees. They don't care about humanity or the human environment. They just want to see things their way, which is, like to whine like a little baby and say, "Oh my God, you're using a plastic bag! How dare you!" Like in my state, I think the senators passed a bill on this, or the House of Representatives or the state itself just said, "No, can't use plastic bags. Got to use paper bags now." And I'm so glad that they found out that paper straws are more harmful to the environment or nature, I should actually say, than plastic straws. That's so great, because paper straws suck. That's a pun. I didn't even mean to do that. I really didn't mean to make a pun like that. I just, the word just came to my mind. But they're terrible. I'll say that, because all straws suck. But but paper straws are horrible. And they're a detriment to the nature. They're detriment to nature. Greg S. says, the plastic bag thing is a pain in the ass. Exactly. I love the plastic bags. I still love plastic bags. We try to keep as many as we can when we go to Maryland or Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Yeah, so where do you live, Greg S., if I may ask? Do you live in Delaware? Do you live in my home state? Where do you live, sir? Where do you live? All right, so learned machines, otherwise known as artificial intelligence. I use the words learned machines. They're not a detriment. Just like the sewing machine wasn't a detriment. Just like television wasn't a detriment. They all have their own little tiny bits of, oh, well, television led to people, whatever. It's not widespread, terrible, horrible genocide because of television. You can probably see horrible genocide and learn something about the planet and your fellow human beings. But it's like anything new, anything that's testing the waters, anything that's coming up and coming, that's automatically going to get hatred and viciousness, and spat upon, and people are going to evade and not see the truth and not see reality, because they do see it. They just avoid. They just evade. They have evasion from it. So they're not seeing it completely. They're not seeing it wholly, or they see it. If they are seeing it wholly and completely, they just evade and say, "No, that's not it. That's not true. That's just not reality." No. That's what we are, sadly. And most people will vote, yeah, yes, we have to learn machines, but people are going to say AI, artificial intelligence. We have to, put a hold on that. No fakes. No fakes. Gets right. No fakes. If you think this technology is scary, then you should have thought about the internet. How scary the internet can be. You should have thought about how, and of course, the government has been trying to regulate the internet for close to 3 decades now. I mean, they've had the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, I think is what it's called, DMCA, and they just kept it moving. They kept it. They couldn't do much because the internet is such a once it's out of the box, once it's out of Pandora's box, I mean, it's already on. You can't go. There's no way of putting the genie back in the bottle. No way of putting the toothpaste back in the bottle. That's it. That's all she wrote. If I'm on this platform right now talking all this shit, talking my shit, popping shit, talking whatever I want to say. Government's not saying anything against me. They're not doing anything yet. They might find some way. Oh well, this character is definitely being very detrimental towards the government. We have to slow him down. Definitely, we have to revoke his ability to use YouTube. Whatever. I'm waiting for somebody to do that. Come and get me. That's what I say. That's the real American way. We become so coddled and spoiled and fat and happy. I mean, myself included, literally, I'm fat too right now. I'm eating, especially these past few days. But I mean, we just become so accustomed to the government being our nanny and tucking us in the bed at night and singing a sweet song. Greg S says, "Don't worry, I'll be reporting you to the feds very soon." I appreciate that. That was a good laugh. I needed that. I definitely needed it because I was about to get pissed. I was about to get really mad because that really makes my blood boil. Government should have only one role, and there should be 3 agencies only that do it: the military, the law courts, and the police. The military to protect you from foreign invaders, the law courts to settle disputes rationally, and the police to protect you against domestic criminals. That's it. That's all we need. You don't need anything else. That's all government has to be. No EPA, no OSHA, no DEA, no FDA, no any of the alphabet. No minimum wage, no food stamps. I mean, this is later. No Social Security, no Medicare, Medicaid, all of that gone, poof, in years. I mean, we can't just say gone poof right now, but we need to start having a serious idea towards dismantling and completely taking out all these different alphabet soup organizations and of course Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. All of that comes out of your check. It's not coming out of my it does come out of my check, to be honest with you. It comes out of my check for my not my disability, but my Social Security. My Social Security benefits, I do get tax, so I do pay at least one tax. Don't get too excited. I do pay my taxes, but it's not like I have to pay on April 15th. I don't have anything to pay on April 15th. It just comes out automatically. I have nothing to do with it. It just comes out just like your check. It comes out automatically. You don't have any control. The government doesn't ask you, hey, we got this, we got this thing called the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. And if you like to chip in, you can give a few dollars out of your paycheck. No, none of that happens. They say, look, we're going to take your money. You can't say nothing about it. You can't say a word against it. You can't say anything of the like. You have to be lockstep with what we do, and you don't have a choice. Either that, or if you don't pay your taxes on the 15th of April, you're going to jail. That's all that is, or you're getting a major fine. Whoever comes up first. That's the sad part about it. And what do? We don't We're cheering for, sports teams, which is good and proper and great. Wonderful that we have diversions. Hey, Rick James has chimed in. I respect Rick James. I don't see him, celebrating with his SS check today. He's singing "Good Day Sunshine," and I'm not going to say anything else because that's going to be a copyright strike. But salute to Rick James. Let me say hi to him. Okay, he said his SS check was stolen today. Sir, he calls me sir. I'm a young man, and I appreciate that. It's like he's like a sergeant major calling a lieutenant or a captain like myself, sir, or maybe a major at my age, maybe. But I appreciate that. But yeah, that pissed me off to no end. So, in conclusion, in totality, government should get the hell out of private means, and its only function should be to protect individual rights. Now, here's the fun part, kids. It is officially 4:30, and guess what time it is? Not what you think, Rick James, but it's close. Very close. Very close. I am. Let me see. Here we go. I have a little story to tell. You guys let me know. Excuse me. You guys let me know if it's trash or if you like it. Because I like it. I like all my stuff. I take questions. You put the King Dawn on there with an N. Okay. And it's not Rule of the Kingdom on the air. I said it's not what you think it is, Rick. It's another story entirely. So here goes. The Engine Roared. A couple experienced a road trip by Skylar Saunders. They had never been on a journey this long before. She turned to him in the driver's seat. He flashed a solemn, grim countenance. He used his telephone. She swept it out of his hand and looked at him with intensity. He shot a similar face back at her. The engine roared. The stretch of highway beckoned her to go faster. No cops staked out along the stretch of Delaware Highway from King County. The luxury SUV sang a song of efficiency and power before he could return to his sitting position. She held her left hand on the wheel and reached for his arm. He looked up at her, anger painting his face. The speed of the vehicle reached 80 miles an hour. He noticed the glint of the engagement ring and her chocolate dress in the light of the computer monitor positioned in the center of the dashboard. Their looks remained icy. The coldness of their faces could freeze over hell. She kept her eyes on the road, shifting gears with skill. He ripped her hand away from his arm. Then they came to an intersection. A red light impeded their progress. He kept using his phone. She looked at him again with a brusque and cold way, her eyes narrowed. When the light changed to green, she mashed on the gas. His phone tumbled to the floor. He breathed in heavy, short bursts. He raised a single finger. She scoffed. He put his phone away and reached to turn on a playlist from his phone. The sounds of jazz pervaded the vehicle. Her face looked incredulous. She tapped on the screen to visit a satellite radio station featuring trap music. He fumed. He put it back on his playlist. She looked him in the eye. A tinge of rage developed in her psyche. He smirked. She kissed her teeth. Now they rolled into more civilization with landmarks that dotted the land. The glimmer of the moon provided another element of light that guided their way. He slid slightly in his chair. She kept a lawful speed in these parts, knowing that now police presence would be increased. She looked over at him. He lowered his eyes. She started to say something, but her tongue. She tasted a bit of blood in her mouth. He was snoring like he was the 700 horsepower engine that propelled them. She shoved her right arm into his shoulder. She smiled and held up a finger and wagged it at him. He fixed his jacket. The little corsage had become a bit crooked. As he adjusted, she kept a steady pace. She weaved through the light traffic like a skier passing through poles or gates. The thrill of staying within the speed limit, passing cars, motivated her. No sign of stopping. The couple sat hearing the music of the machinery just a few feet in front of them. When she looked at him again, his eyes looked like saucers. His brain housing unit had to have been concocting some sort of scheme or plot. He smirked. Her eyes looked at him, then the road, and then back at him. Her heart palpitated and small beads of sweat collected on her forehead. He then looked at his phone and tapped the features of the SUV. He smiled and then put away his phone. He gave a deeper sigh this time and slid the seat back just a bit. She regarded this as an affront, as they had agreed to not let the other sleep while the other drove. She reached again, but he was ready for her. He lifted a stiff arm to intercept her flagrant touch. She recoiled. The colors of her red and white streaked across the night, which made her somewhat angry now. She didn't want to see the other cars and the traffic lights in various mini malls and outlets. She just wanted the lights from her vehicle shining on the asphalt. It sort of became a war in her mind to let him sleep. Her day stretched on for just as long. All the primping and pressing, the hairstylist doing his work, all the corresponded to a deep-seated rancor that she held for him. More turns brought them closer to where they needed to be. Earlier that day, they kissed under the sycamore tree. Everything appeared buoyant, bright. Once they embarked on their travel, side eyes and bitter movements presented themselves between them. Now the SUV swerved to avoid roadkill. He didn't flinch. She gripped onto the steering wheel as he had never done before. Rage coursed through her veins. Then a few raindrops hit the windshield and the top of the vehicle. They had scanned the weather reports on their phones, but had only considered that Kent County experience. The rain picked up harder and harder. Huge drops splashed against the glass like tiny water balloons. He was still fast asleep. She pulled into the nearest gas station. She fueled up with the roof of the pump area, shielding her from the moisture of the rain. Her eyes stayed on him as he napped away. She wanted to swear, but decided against it. They returned to the road. She listened to her trap music. This didn't faze her fellow occupant in the slightest. His condominium, while sleeping, continued to spark ire in her soul. At the same time, however, she knew that they could be together. They had been friends on the job, and then that relationship grew even more. The fire in her mind burned with an intensity that would light 1,000 candles. She wanted them to be together, but didn't know exactly how to express it. As she switched lanes, nearly hydroplaning, she kept up the pace and gained even greater ground. This is the first time that he had ever been in deep sleep during one of their excursions. They finally arrived at their destination. She felt a bit like a champion as she had never consulted a GPS service during the trip from Wilmington. She shook him awake. He inhaled sharply and stretched his hands. He looked at her deep in her eyes. He leaned in and kissed her. Next, he snatched the keys from the center console and exited the vehicle. She took off her stiletto heel and attempted to stab him. With deft moves, he avoided injury. He locked the doors, and thanks to looking up the feature where you cannot honk the horn, and all the doors locked from the inside. He strolled towards the entrance and screamed like she screamed like a banshee. She searched for something to break the glass. She found nothing. He walked on into the venue without a bit of worry or distress. Just before he entered, he sent her a grainy video of her kissing on the mouth what would have been his best man at their wedding. She reached for her phone, which he had drained with the use of the LED light earlier in the day. She looked up and chuckled. He found a young lady to spend the night with who happened to have her own car. He viewed this as a definite win. Did you like it? Who was listening to who liked the story? Anybody like the story? Baja Jackson, another Jackson. I'll say is different than you. I was confused one time. Salute. So I appreciate you for listening. I know it was a very short story. If you got questions, sure, ask away. I'll give you time to ask. You giving no money. You not appreciated my efforts enough to give money, but you have shared stories with other people, so I'll give you that benefit of the doubt. Dear Richard James, ask question, ask away, ask whatever questions you like. I just like the word sycamore tree. I like the words. The word sycamore tree is cool to me. It reminds me of Jay-Z's lyric, "Who made love on the sycamore tree?" Which makes me a more sicker MC than my mama would claim. At 10 pounds when I was born, she didn't give me no pain. If I say anything else, I get a copyright strike, so I'm going to slow down with that. So I have to, be very careful with what I say and do. So I'm very cautious about what I say. So I appreciate your patience. You liked it, very good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm not the voice guy. I'm not the voice guy. That's a great critique. I'm not the voice guy. I'm a voice for here. I have liveliness here, but when I'm reading something, I lose it. I don't know why. I have to work on that. That's a good point. Chelsea with her glasses on. Very vivid. Just she says, I liked it. Very vivid. Just wish your voice had more liveliness with it when reading. It's not an all-time high of 6 people. My all-time high was like 239. That was my all-time high. When Paul Rubens died, this is what Rick James remember. This is how I got to know Rick James. Malik, salute. Spectacle. What's the cap? Okay, I appreciate Chelsea with glasses on. Said if you ever need a voiceover, let me know. I need to put some. I think she said I need to put some work in or something. Oh, hold on, it's put some voice. Yeah, put some voiceover work on my resume. Hey, we can get together on that. That'd be wonderful. I would like that. What is the cap? I don't understand what you're saying cap for. No, see, I'm ask Rick James. Ask Rick James. He'll say I got 239 people because I put in. It was exactly when he died. It was exactly when he died. So that picked up the search engine optimization on YouTube, the SEO, and it was 239 people. A lot of people, and then it fell off. I mean, I'm not saying I stayed with 239 people, but 239 people were definitely staying on for like at least 2 to 3 minutes. And then they're like, okay, this is anything I want to hear about Paul Rubin. I want to hear about how he was the greatest ever. Like Rick James. Rick James wants me to say Paul Rubin was the mastermind and the genius of all time or something like that. I was just like, that's not my style. I got to tell the truth. I got to tell reality. He was into, teenage boys and going to, movies and doing different things with himself. That was another level. Like he was talented. He was talented as hell, but he just couldn't keep it in his pants, as we could say. Not you. Oh, you look it up. Look it up, Rick James. He definitely had teenage boy pornography in his possession. Look that up. Look it up. I'm not making this up. I'm not just trying to sound cool or sound like I'm not even trying to sound like I know it all. I'm just saying what I do know. So that was the story. I'm I'm probably going to allow y'all to ask me questions. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Friday the 13th today. I'm gonna check for the series. I saw the whole series up to about the one that was made in the early 2000s or the mid 2000s, and I didn't see the other one, but I saw the first one. The first one is usually the first one always have some semblance of greatness or validity or value. They don't really, because they say, because the sequels are like, oh, we got to make more money, we got to make more money, and they throw people off on different curves and stuff like that. So, but I learned a little bit about Friday 13th. They first we have to talk about the number 13. Number 13 is usually seen as something that's unlucky or something that's adverse or sinister, and that is what is supposed to be the idea behind it. We have so many different instances, like in the Bible, the Last Supper. How many people were present? Anybody want to guess? 13. Who was the last person to be at the table? They say it was Judas. 14. How's it 14? It was 13. It was Jesus and his 12 disciples. It's 13. But they said it was Judas as the last guest to the supper. So they say he was the 13th one. So that's one thing. They had Loki. It was a similar situation. The god Loki appeared among the other gods and goddesses in Norse mythology. There's definitely a link there, because he was also the 13th person at a banquet or something like that, and he definitely changed the idea of what it means to be a god. Throughout history, I mean, I was just watching a few videos and reading a few texts. Architecture. You go into your high rise, your hotel or your skyscraper, your office building. They rarely have 13 floors or the floor of 13. They usually have that as a special cleaning room, cleaning floor or a admin floor or something like that. It's not actually said not 13, but there are various famous buildings like the Empire State Building that does have number 13. It does have floor 13. I appreciate Rick James. Oh, Rick James is saying a lot. I used to work in an office on the 13th floor. Exactly. See, and you're right here. You seem relatively healthy. I don't know what your current state is, but you're on the good foot. Being on my show. Thank you very much. Even though you haven't given a dime, I'm always going to tease him with that. I'm always going to tease Rick James, Greg S. Who else are the free riders? Keith. I'm always going to, because they come in, they talk all that shit, and they never spend a dime. You have people like Chelsea with the glasses on. Let me see. Chelsea, is it? Oh, let me make sure I clean that up too. I just say Chelsea with the glasses, so I'm gonna clean that up. I gotta put Chelsea with the glasses on. That's a good catch. So I remember that for the future. I had J Tone instead of Tone J. He spent much buku money on this platform. Honor my pledge. All right. I see. I see you, Baja Jackson. I see you. I see you out there. I see you, my friend. Now we have $35 raised. $45 to go. I appreciate it. Baha Jackson. I respect that. He said, I pledge to give you money. He said that yesterday. He said, I pledge it, sir. I don't got it right now. I ain't holding it right now. I can't let you hold that. You know, can't let you hold that. But tomorrow, this is from yesterday. I got you. And what did he do? He stepped up, gave me a 10, and I'm taking 10s and 20s only. I will find a way, if it's less than $10, to send it back. I know Marvelous. He comes in and yeah, exactly. Yeah. Your SA check, exactly. See, you didn't even say SS check. But you have people that come in, give people like Marvelous. He sometimes he gives 10, but most of the time he gives me $7.77 just to mess with my brain because I'm not good at math. I'm not good at math, so it's a shame. But let me put this story in. Hold up. I don't even know where it went to. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. I'm going to put in the chat room the link to the story so you can read it and share it with all your friends and family. Just add 8 and subtract 23. What the hell? What the hell? Check out the engine roared. That is my piece that I have for Focal.media. Spread it around like herpes. Spread it around like chlamydia. Let people know, what time it is. Spread it around like, the clap. Let people know about it. I appreciate it. I'm having fun. This is fun. I wanted to call it a Freak Out Friday. I don't know if somebody already has that, but I was thinking about the band Chic. They had Freak Out. Chic. Said Chic. I can't say anything else because it'll be a copyright strike. I'm not trying to get, Nile Rodgers in a lawsuit. Get me in a lawsuit. I don't want to hear about your clap stories, Rick James. Please don't. I might have to block you if you start talking about kind of ideas related to that. The views expressed by Rick James on this platform do not represent Skylar Saunders or any of his affiliates. How about that? That's for everybody in live broadcast land. You won't see Rick James, of course, in the rebroadcast, but he's talking about, I used to have the clap, sir. I'm like, come on, man. I'm not trying to hear that. No, I'm having fun. I'm having a good day because I was really pissed off when I saw that article about the learned machines, otherwise known as artificial intelligence. It's the new fear. It's a new scare across the land. Oh my God, what are they going to do? How can I tell what's real or not? You're going to be able to tell because you're a human being. Children pick up on things quickly, more quickly than adults do sometimes. You might be able to get a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old say, that's not real. What is this? Like, they'll be able to pick it up more than an adult. No. Yeah, it's real. It's what's going on. So if you have anyone in your family that has the idea of protecting themselves against AI, it's not to go to the government. That's for certain. You don't go to the government for that. You don't go to the government for anything except for protecting your individual rights. That's it. There's no equivocating that. There's no fighting over that. There's no discussion. It's just that fact. Military, police, law courts. That's it. That's all you need the government for. Anything else is not only superfluous, it's evil. And that's what the truth is about it. That's what we have to realize. And like I said, we're happy, we're fat, we're spoiled Americans because of our freedoms, because of our liberties. We were able to become that way. We were able to become that way. We were able to become, not interested in intellectual matters or anything like that. That's why I always called this nation. This is an intelligent country. I don't care what you say. You can call them dumb F, what's. We're in dumb Effistan, all these different epithets and name calling, but Americans are intelligent, but not necessarily intellectual. There are intellectuals in this country, but they're mostly in the ivory towers and the universities, and they're touting evil, vicious, disgusting ideas, left and right. Like I said, when Republicans and Democrats get together on something, it's probably going to be something that's going against your individual rights. And that's what the problem is. That's what it breaks down to. So I was happy, to parse through that whole idea, but I want to just say a few things about Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, there was a few instances where the number 13, was seen as just superstitious. It's all superstition. It was seen always as a superstitious number, and it's weird because people actually fear it. It's very strange. I'm not even going to repeat what Greg Ash said, but he said it's very strange. But it's not unexpected. It's weird, but I expect it because we are a nation of people that have faith, and people who have faith will believe almost anything, and that ties into learning machines and quote unquote AI or artificial intelligence. It all comes back to that. I think that's the reason why it's almost like the boogeyman, just like Friday the 13th. Like, people will avoid going up stairs 13 to the 13th stair or skip over it or something like that, or on their walk skip over a pebble or a stone. That's the 13th stone. Chelsea with her glasses on says, "My brother was born on the 13th. He viewed Friday the 13th as a lucky day for him." See, exactly. See, we have multiple ways of seeing how the Friday the 13th could be a positive, or just an objective day, not necessarily positive or negative. It's just a day, just happens to be. But especially during this time, it's October. Everything is spooky, and there's ghouls and goblins and ghosts and things of that nature coming up on the 31st, and then it's right into Christmas. Like, I love that whole that's changeover. It's like Halloween. Then Halloween hits and it's over. Christmas, because you jump over Thanksgiving. You don't even care about Thanksgiving. You say, "Oh, I see my terrible cousin. I see my gay aunt or my lesbian aunt." I don't like this. That's another thing too. I hate when people call women lesbians gay because there's no lesbian men. It's the same thing. Why would you call a man a lesbian? So why would you call a woman gay? All right, so that's just a little thing for me. But people pass over Thanksgiving because there's no exchange. There's no exchange. Like in Halloween, you exchange for gifts. You exchange for candy. Thanksgiving, you exchange food, but you're not really. You could bring something, or you might just bring paper plates and ice. It depends. And you might not be cooking. Popeyes might be cooking. You know, Olive Garden might be cooking. You know, the meal. But Christmas, oh my! You look at the dollar stores right now. Going to the Dollar Tree, and I see stuff for Christmas already. And if there's gonna be stuff for Christmas, there's gonna be stuff for New Year's. If there's stuff for New Year's, there's gonna be stuff from MLK. And if there's stuff for MLK, you see where I'm going. You see where I'm going. And Greg S says, "Don't show up to the Thanksgiving dinner empty-handed." Salute to that, for real. It's true. See, I can cook. I cook very well, but I cannot do Thanksgiving. I tried, like back home, I didn't do it. My dad did it. Everything. He just showed me how to do it. He showed me the timing, the right amount of seasonings, the way that you clean up after you make a mess, and you keep that all together, and everything is in its proper place. And he just did it so smoothly. He did that for years. Now we use Popeye's turkey and just put it in there, and get Chick-fil-A macaroni and cheese and stuff like that, because he's older. He's done his share. He's done at least 20 different Thanksgivings, at least maybe 30. Maybe 30. I don't know. Could be more. But he's always been able to do a dazzling job with the food. Everybody loves it. It tastes great. And they're always wondering, like, how can we get this? How can we get this to go? Can I have more of this? That's my dad. My dad always is the greatest cook, greatest caregiver, greatest everything in that regard. So when it's Thanksgiving, that's Thanksgiving. Then if you want to talk about Christmas, he just shuts it down. Decorations, gifts, all of that. But the thing he doesn't do is Halloween. He does not deal with Halloween whatsoever. He abhors the idea of it. We used to do it when I was a kid. I used to do Hallelujah night at church sometimes. That was a really lame thing, but you had to respect it. It was lame, but you had to respect it. They tried to get people off the street, potentially getting into mischief or something like that, or being abducted or something like that. It was all in the church banquet hall. It was always they had candy, they had all that. If you remember, like Greg S says he remembers Halloween night. That's what I'm saying. It was all part of the plan. It was it was against Halloween. But the irony of all this is that Halloween, the whole point of it is to recognize the next day, All Saints Day. You're scaring all the ghouls away. This is just on the mystical tip. You're scaring all the ghouls and goblins and ghosts away with your costumes. That goes back to the pagan era. And so in the modern times, it's been commercialized, which is beautiful. They commercialized it. They made it a candy giving holiday, even though I shouldn't say giving, it's soft extortion or actual extortion. Trick or treat. Either you give me a treat or I'm gonna trick you. Like that's extortion. If you really look at it, what it really is. I'm gonna say what Greg S says. Greg says, "Can't believe they let you in the church." Yeah, I was the president of the youth choir. We can get into that on another note. But Rick James says, "I was told there was a secret chord that Damon played that pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you?" Is that Rick James? Is that Bob Dylan? I don't even know. That sounds like lyrics. That sounds like lyrics. I can't be saying lyrics like that. I get a copyright strike. Can't be doing that. Here's Chelsea with her glasses on. Richard James tricking off that SSI check down there in Florida. Yeah, and he has no income tax. See, it's possible. Like, why isn't that across the board? Why doesn't every state have that? At least the state tax and should be the federal and city and every tax. There should be no income tax, period. I would allow consumption taxes. I would allow you to have to sign something And then if you want a car, or if you want a house or something like that, or if you want land or investments or something like that, and you want the government to protect those properties, then you have to sign something, and then that will be an exchange to give to the government money for them to protect you. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with the government taking your money before you even get it. That is despicable. That is disgusting. Income tax is awful. It is a terrible and abomination. It's abhorrent. It is horrible. You should have every right to your own money. You earned it. You earned it. So whatever it is that the government thinks they're doing by stealing, literally stealing your money, because they're not doing it with my disability check, but they're doing my Social Security check. This is a few dollars. It's not a whole lot, but it's the principle. I don't care if it's a penny. The principle of it is they shouldn't take any of it. And again, government doing what it shouldn't be doing. The IRS, government doing what it shouldn't be doing. I actually have a story about the IRS. I think I said this story before, but I was supposed to get like 3 stacks, $3,000 or so, back pay, because I was paying. This is a long drawn out story. I'll try to keep it concise. I paid from the military because they gave me $9,000, right? And I used it all. I used it all. I got, I maxed it out. I went shopping and I bought everything, and it was gone. Boom. So I'm back to square one. Then I get a notice that says, "Hey, you got to pay that money back if you want the disability rank." And I was rated at 10%. The highest you can get is 100%, and it depends on your illnesses or your injuries what other percentages you get. So I went and got 50%, right? So at 50%, I'm paying back the United States government for giving me $9,000. This is such a convoluted story. Stick with me. Stay with me. Please. Please. So I got to 50%. I'm paying it back. I go up to 70%. I'm still paying it back. I finally pay it back at the 70% level. And nothing happens for over a decade. Now they come to me saying, "Hey, you accrued this amount of money, that's left over from the amount you were paying." I was like, "What? What is this?" And I was like, "Okay." And on the paper it said like $3,200. Then I call the IRS and I asked them about when can I expect my check. They said, "You know what? You're really owed like $4,600." I was like, "What? Really?" And I was like, "Okay." And so they sent me that check, $4,600, no taxes on it. So I think they're like the Winky Guard again. They're another example of the Winky Guard. If you're not familiar with the Winky Guard, you're familiar with their song. Oh, yo, oh, yo. I don't want no copyright strikes on that either. But the ones in the Wizard of Oz, when at the end they go for the witch, they say, "Dorothy, you've killed her," or something like that. And she's like, I was just trying to put out my friend's fire, and they're like, no, that's good. We didn't like her ass either. And then I'm paraphrasing. I'm just saying, like, we didn't like her either. We didn't want anything to do with her. She was bossing us around, making us do stupid stuff. She had flying monkeys and shit. I mean, it was goofy. So they were like, at last she's dead. Hail Dorothy, hail Dorothy. So we need a Dorothy that's purposefully doing this. Dorothy accidentally, she killed 2 witches, and I hope I'm not spoiling for anybody, but she killed 2 witches on accident. Her house fell on one, and her sister, she splashed water on her, and that's a metaphor, I think, because the metaphor for evil or vicious values or mysticism It doesn't hold water. Get it? So she melted. She evaporated. And the Winky guard just said, you know what? Hey, shoot, we didn't like her ass. We didn't like her. She was terrible. And then Dorothy was hailed. That's what we need. Because people at this time, the Winky guard was really like into it. They're they're really into being in soldiers for the witch. That's what we need, though. We need a Dorothy on purpose. We need to have, and more than Dorothy, it's going to have to take government as well. Good people in government that want to protect individual rights, not trample over them. That's what it's going to take. Of course, it's going to take private citizens. They tried that with the Tea Party. That failed abysmally. They didn't have any philosophical basis. If you don't have a philosophical basis, no matter how beautiful your ideology may look like, it's going to crumble. It's like a house built on sand. You can have a wonderful mansion, beautiful, gorgeous mansion, but if it's not built on a firm foundation, it doesn't matter. It's going to tumble and fall. So I'm saying that we've got to put on our full armor of God. No, not of God. No, but because ego, edge got out. That's what you got to do. Put our full armor of ego on, and stand up. We got to band together and do something. Why are we in the streets? For George Floyd and for Occupy Wall Street, and people are striking for more money. From writing and acting and being on the assembly line and Ford and being in healthcare and Kaiser Soze. No, it's Kaiser Permanente. I just like to say Kaiser Soze. Greg says, you better watch is making the work of God, son. You better watch is mocking the work of God, son. Tell me about your God. Let me know what he wears. Does he wear shoes? What kind of shoes does he wear? Does he drive a Lamborghini? Once you get to specifics, well, I'm not your boy and I'm not your son. So you can say all that if you want, but there is no God. Because you can't get into specifics. Is he 5'7"? Is he black, white, brown, red, yellow? Same thing with heaven. The streets of gold. Who built the streets? The angels? Do they have a union? Do they have people that work for them? They have consulting firms? Once you get into specifics, then you're like, oh yeah, it's mysticism. This religion stuff is a little goofy. It really is. It's not just goofy. It's very detrimental. And it has nothing to do with intelligence. Greg says it don't matter. You're getting lost on trivial nonsense. Like what? Exactly. And you've yet to give me a single dollar. So I'm probably not going to be answering you anymore. Today, at least. With, okay, I'm going to answer that. He says, what color socks does Biden have on? Who cares? Well, you should care. If you have a God, he should have. Does he have socks on? Is he barefoot? What is he? Does he drive a Ferrari on the streets of gold? Does he have? He said, in my father's house there are many mansions. In my father's house there are many rooms. One of them belongs to me. If this were not so, I would have told you. Says it's not so. If it was not so, I would have told you. So people are reflecting off of that, trying to understand what that means, and it just adds up to nothing. Adds up to nothing at all. Zero. God is a zero. Greg S. in very ungrammatical fashion says, Do you the every detail of how internet packets are routed? No, yet you still use the internet. Yeah, but the internet exists. How about that? Your God does not exist. And you don't have evidence of a God. Present me evidence. That's all I'm saying. Give me your evidence, and then I'll say there's a God. Don't have evidence? Don't have a God. That's a fact. There is no God. And there's nothing, you can't argue about it. But I would say this, it has nothing to do with intelligence. This person with just average intelligence or even less than average intelligence, below average, can understand the fact that there's no God. It doesn't take much thought. It takes thought, but it doesn't take much. It doesn't take a supreme amount of intelligence. You don't have to be a super genius on the level of Ayn Rand or something like that. Okay, Greg S., yeah, it is shame. But you give me evidence, please. Give me evidence. I'll wait. I'll wait. I got $35 so far raised. And you don't look like you're going to be raising any more. But I got $35 raised, $45 to go. Or is that 35? Hold on. My terrible math skills. Okay, I was right. 45. Yeah. All right, cool. I was making sure. I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh. The fact that you even raised dollars today is evidence. How? Please tell me how. Tell me how. Besides the fact that you haven't helped raise the money account. Tell me how, please, Greg S. We have 11% left to go. So, Greg S., the floor is yours, sir. The floor is yours. I'll allow you to say all that you want to say. I'll repeat it even there. No matter what you say, you'll just say how or what. Yeah, that's what my whole point of my show is. What do you expect? What do you want me to do? So anyway, America is an intelligent country, not an intellectual one. That is my point for now. Very smart people, extremely smart people, common sense, intelligence, all of that. Very, very intelligent people. People going to community college on up to university level, all intelligent. People that without degrees, people with dropped out of eighth grade. Very smart, very sage, very wise. I'm thinking about older black women, grandmothers and aunties. They may not have finished the 8th or 9th grade, but they know, shit from Shinola. They know the truth. They can spot a lie coming at them. They have sense about them. And Greg S has the laughing emoji. I love it. He's doing this on purpose. I know I don't like emojis, especially don't like emojis that don't have any text attached to them. So I have no idea what it means. And that's going to be next for SATs, like I said. They're going to be emojis. You're just going to have to match what emoji and what emotion you feel. As the SATs are going to be comprised of soon. I see it. So you can take that and say, what I was saying, intellectuals. The intellectuals in this country are the ones that are eating away at it, eating away at its spirit, eating away at its foundation. You have people like Noam Chomsky, who's a horrible human being, just a terrible, horrible human being, just an awful human being, and he stands for absolutely nothing. He stands for evil, for backwardness, for cowardice, for turning his back on American values and virtues. That's what people like Noam Chomsky are. And there's others, there's dozens of them like that. That are focused on destroying this country, bringing it to its knees. And then they have that's what's sad about institutions and awards that are like the Nobel Prize and Masterclass, because you have people like Noam Chomsky teaching deep thinking for some reason. Doesn't take much deep thinking to say that Hamas and Israel is wrong and that Hamas is right and things of that nature. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's vicious. Now Rick James and Greg Ass are having their homeless men in the alley fight in the live chat over a bottle of beer and a pig foot. So yeah, so with think little things like Friday the 13th, it just rubs me the wrong way when it comes to stuff like this, because it has no bearing on reality, superstition, zodiac signs, stuff like that. They said that I learned that today. They're like, there's 12. Number 12 is perfect. There's 12 apostles. There's 12 months. There's 12 zodiac signs. But 13 is like the broken number. It's like, kind of like it doesn't fit into the grand scheme of things. That's not like a number that's magic or something like that. Like 3 is a magic number. I'm not trying to get a copyright strike from Schoolhouse Rock now. So with 7% left, I'll allow anybody to ask me a question, ask me what's going on, ask me what's going on in my life, and I'll answer it. Even Greg Ass and Rick James can ask questions. Only 7% left. You can ask your questions right now. Appreciate it. I appreciate today. $35 an hour. Hey, that's all right. A little over an hour, $35 an hour and a half, tax free. I'll take it. Fine by me. Exactly. You're in a bum fight, Greg Ass. Exactly. But here, you got your opportunity to ask questions. There's 2 people in here. I think it's just Greg Ass and Rick James. They don't contribute any money. They can contribute a question now. I don't know. Are they scared? Oh, okay. Chelsea with her glasses on says, I have no questions. I appreciate you. Thank you for being honest about my voice. I'm not the voice actor. I hired a voice actor. His name is oh my God, Ronan. His network is Ronan. United Ronan. I can't think. Oh my God, it's missing me. But what's your question, Greg? Well, I'm trying to think of the person. Ralph Anthony Garcia. I told you, it'll kick in. But Ralph Anthony Garcia, yeah, he's definitely great. United Ronin Networks. That's what he stands for. That's what I was trying to get to. Ralph Anthony Garcia. That's what I was trying to think of. How long have you enjoyed the intimate pleasures of men? Now he's doing stupid shit. Now he's going to a different level. I've never had a homosexual experience, and I don't expect to ever have one. And I never will have one. So, in your fantasy world, you can have as many if you like. Rick James says, "How are you going to celebrate Snoop Doggy Dogg's birthday?" It happens, I think, in what? I always forget because I don't really pay attention to it like that. It's this month. It's a week from today, so you can finally say happy birthday to him. He'll be 52, Rick James. But I'm not going to do anything special for his birthday. Not going out of my way, at least. Keep on. We got you got 2%. You got 2 percentage points left. All right. Nobody saying anything. Hey, it's been real. Had a great week. Probably going to do something tomorrow. There's a good chance I will do something tomorrow on Saturday. It's going to be rainy all day. Probably a good day to just, cuddle up and nestle up to a book. Watch a movie or something like that. Watch a few movies. And just enjoy my Saturday. So I appreciate Chelsea with the glasses on. I appreciate her. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate Baja Johnson for coming through and standing on his pledge like a man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. And I appreciate the broke bums, Greg S. and Rick James, for providing me the entertainment. I'm supposed to be one entertaining you. But I appreciate it, and I'll see you. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll probably see you on Sunday. Thank you very much. Take care.